Hey everybody, I'm back to talk about the latest episode of The Strain. Now, if you're new to my channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button because I will be here every week talking about every episode of this season. Now, let's get right into it. How did y'all feel when all of the police officers just dipped out on the councilwoman? Like, did y'all expect more people to stay, or did you just assume that they were all going to leave? Now, at first, I thought that once a few of them stepped up and said that they wouldn't abandon the city, that many more would come forward. But they didn't. And I'm like, girl, what you gonna do? So everyone left except her and five more people. And so they decided to just leave the city as well. So as they're trying to leave the city, they get stopped because everybody is trying to leave. Like all the police officers have abandoned their posts. They're all just trying to leave the city. And so nighttime comes. And of course, the Strigoi, the vampires, they are out and they are roaming. And so they get stuck in traffic and of course they get attacked by the vampires. Now, at the same time, Gus and Angel, they're leaving the city as well because from the last episode that Gus killed his mother and now he has no more ties to the city. So he tells Angel, let's just go where your family is and we're just going to go there and live and try to get away from all these vampires because they're going to be on this island surrounded by water. And Strigoi, they can't cross moving water and all of that, so they'll be good and safe. So as they're trying to leave, they roll past and they see the councilwoman and her team getting ambushed. So Angel's like, I'm gonna go help them, and Gus was like, please, that's the police. We don't help the police and them. They didn't care about us. Why are we trying to help them? But Angel was like, no, that's not right. So Angel hops out. So Gus gotta go with him too. And so they go and they get the councilwoman and the few people that are still left alive there, and they try to make a run for it. So as they're running off, Angel gets bit. Who else was very sad when that happened? Like, look, yeah, it took everything in me to hold in them tears because I love me some Angel. Ain't Angel, he was just so good, and I loved him and Gus together. It's like, see, since we have found out about Gus and his father and his home life, it just felt like Angel was feeling that void in Gus of having a father figure. You know what I mean? Like he really looked up to him and he respected Angel. And so for him to get bit and, for him to eventually die, it was very sad. Even though he went out like a G, I just was not happy about his character being killed off. I'm still in my feelings about it. I don't like it, but I mean, I guess somebody got to die, but I just did not want him to go. And also the councilwoman, when she's shooting one of the vampires, another worm goes into the same eye. Honey, they must like that eye. That eye must be extra juicy or something because she keeps getting worms in that same eye. But anyway, that's beside the point. So her and her homeboy, they both got attacked by the Strigoi. And right as, everything is about to happen and they're all about to get eaten and bitten and all of that stuff, there was a gasoline leak and there was also like a fire from like one of the cars there, and the whole thing exploded. And the last thing that Gus seen was Angel holding up his, that little what's the thing you put on your like brass knuckles, but his brass knuckles was in the shape of a cross, and that's the last thing that he seen was him holding up his brass knuckles. And he looked like his character from his movies to Gus. That's how he went out. But it was very sad and Gus was very upset about it. And I just feel like Gus is going to have to team back up with Ephraim and the team, Fett and all of them, to kind of figure out what to do next. I don't like him out there on his own without anyone with him. So I really want him to go back with the team. Let's have a moment of silence for Angel. We gonna miss you, man. This moment is for you. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, moving on. Now let's talk about Eldridge. So we got a little backstory about Eldridge. And it's about the relationship between he and his father. Now, obviously, his father knocked his mama up, and he wasn't really supposed to be messing around, I guess, because Eldridge was like a secret. Nobody knew that that was his son, and when Eldridge's mother had passed away, he went and seen his dad, and he was like, "Did you know she died?" And he was like, "Yeah, I knew, but." Oh well, he just kind of brushed it to the side. And then he gave Eldridge $10,000 and he's like, get out of here. Because Eldridge was like, look, I just want you to let me come work for you because I have so many ideas about making money. I have a good business savvy, blah, blah, blah. But his daddy was like, oh, I ain't trying to really fool with you and all of that. Look, take this little check, travel somewhere and live your life. I don't know what to tell you. And so Eldridge took that money and he became successful, and when he became Eldridge Palmer, who he is, he came back to visit his father who was in a nursing home. And he told him, look, I just came to give you back that $10,000 you gave me. Thank you for helping me be the successful person that I am. I bought your business out and I'm going to name it this and that. He just kind of came back with like this vengeance about him, and he was like, look, everything that you tried to keep me from, I ended up getting it anyway. And then his father laughed in his face and he was like, really? Like, you spent your whole life just trying to get back at me? How dumb can you be? Like, you need to go get somewhere, And he just kind of laughed at him. And it was very sad because that just shows you a side of Eldridge that is more vulnerable. Like, he really wanted his father's approval. And the fact that his father put the company over him and his mother and everything else in life, it just disgusted him. But in the same way, he kind of did the same thing too. Like, just look at how he goes to number one about wanting to be healthy and live forever. He got into the bed with the devil and now he's having to pay for it. So let's talk about that. So Eldridge, right? He finds out where that box is, that mysterious box, and he goes and he takes his team with him and they go find out, where it is. And so they hunt it down, and lo and behold, what's in the box was two nuclear bombs. Did y'all expect that? I expected something for the master. I thought it was going to be a whole thing of dirt again, with worms in it, so that the master can find him another body and get into that dirt. The worm can crawl in there with the rest of the worms, throw a body in there, and he can somehow get into the body. I don't know, but that's what I expected it to be. What did y'all expect it to be? But okay, so it's a nuclear bomb. So Eldridge took one and he was like, I know number one is going to come looking for it, and when he do, I got something for him. And I'm like, oh, Eldridge, wait a minute. He got a little piece of that white, honey. He's just all amped up, okay? So anyway, so true to his plan, here comes number one coming in there and he's like, you done did something for the last time. We don't have no more need for you. I'm going to suck you dry. And once the master finds out where the other bomb is, I'm going to snap your neck like a twig. And then I'm going to be out. I've been waiting to do this for so long. I'm so tired of you in your mouth, Eldridge. Basically, I'm just paraphrasing. But that's kind of what he said to him, right? And so, look, Eldridge was ready, okay? He was laying there acting all feeble, like, he was so sick. See, number one, don't know he done got a little piece of that white. You know what I'm talking about? So, anyway, so he's laying there in a bed acting like he's so sick and feeble. And number one walks up to him and he's like, yeah, I'm going to drain you dry, blah, blah, blah. He just talking all that stuff. And Eldridge is like, all right, cool. So when he got real close to him, like, he threw that cover off of him and he had a gun. Like, it wasn't a gun. It was like what is it, like a shotgun? I don't know, y'all. I'm not a gun fanatic. I have no idea. But I think it was like a shotgun. And honey, he just started blasting on him. And then as number one was, kind of running away, all his people came out and they started shooting at him too. So they wounded him pretty good. And he fell down the elevator shaft. But y'all know he ain't dead. And Eldridge knew he wasn't going to die either. He was just like, well, I tried. He should have shot him in the head. What was you aiming at? But, number one is quick. He real quick. So he runs off. And Eldridge says, okay, now I got to go find Abraham because, I done started something. So, we need to go on and handle this. So I guess he already knew that it was probably going to go left. So he must have some plan in mind. Now let's hop over to Dutch and Ephraim. Okay, so Since all the police officers and stuff are gone, Fett came over to see them to tell them that, listen, this is not safe anymore to be here, so y'all need to probably pack up and get up out of here. But of course, Ephraim and Dutch were both like, look, we're not going anywhere. And it was very sad to see him try to get Dutch to go with him because, we seen how it happened when he tried to warn his parents, and it was kind of reminiscent of that. So I kind of felt bad for Fett because she was like, nope, we have a really good shot at um defeating these vampires with this idea that we have, and I'm gonna stick around and stick to it. And so he was like, all right, cool, I wish you the best of luck. And he left. And I was like, oh, if something happens to her, he's gonna feel horrible. But at the same time, he's like, look, I tried to tell you, but I'm glad that he didn't sense the sexual attraction between he and Dutch, because I mean Ephraim and Dutch, because I'm not ready for him to have to deal with that. Okay, he's dealing with enough. So anyway, so Dutch and Ephraim, they go catch one of the blind kids that are the vampires or whatever. So they catch one of them, and they do their little stuff that they do. They took the brain out and attached it to the device that had the master's signal on it. And so they went and did an experiment, and it worked. Like when they sent out that signal, it just froze up the vampires. They just kind of stood there, and they were able to kill them easily. So it worked. So they went and told Abraham and Fett about, what they had found. And so in the midst of all of this, Fett is like, yeah, okay, thank you for bringing it. And we're going to go test it out, in the field. And we're going to look for the master and all of that. But you can't go. He was talking about Ephraim. So Ephraim was like, why I can't go? And Fett was like, because you're a traitor. That's why you can't go. So they got into it. They got the fist fighting, honey, and everything. And Abraham was like, look, y'all need to cut it out. This is exactly what the master wants. And right as they're in the midst of this fist fight, who comes out of the blue? Quinlan. Thank God. I'm so glad he's not dead. But I thought he probably survived it. I just thought he might be hurt and he might be out of the show for a few episodes. But no, I'm glad they brought him right back in, and he told them everything that happened. So I'm just real curious to see how everything is going to fall into place. I have no idea. I have no predictions. I'm just watching the show just on pins and needles. I'm still very upset about Angel dying, but I guess, like I said, somebody had to go. What did y'all think about this episode? I enjoyed it. If I left anything out, y'all, please leave it in the comments below, and we'll keep the conversation going, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.